All right, we are starting off with Scarlett Johansson today. Um, I'm not. I'll say this. I think Scarlett Johansson is pretty. She's kind of sexy. Nice figure. Um, Not sure how much of it is real. Um, but her voice. I never really liked her voice. Like it just. I don't. I like high pitched voices, as do most guys. To me, that's her main drawback. But anyway, that is besides the point here. This is from the Daily Wire. Okay. This is from the Daily Wire. Scarlett Johansson now regrets being hypersexualized, blames it on men. After helping to turn herself into a sex symbol, actress Scarlett Johansson now regrets ever being hypersexualized. Speaking at a Hollywood Reporter actress roundtable with Jennifer Lopez, Renee Zellweger, Lupita Nyong'o, and Laura Dern, and Awkwafina, Johansson reflected upon the variety of roles women can now play compared to yesteryears when they were allegedly just sex symbols. It's so different now. The climate is so different now, Johansson said as reported by the Hollywood Reporter. The actress went on to blame the sexualized image of her on a bunch of dudes. I feel when I was working in my early 20s and even my late teens/early 20s, I felt that I sort of got somehow typecast. I was very hypersexualized, she continued, which was, I guess at the time, seemed okay to everyone. It was another time, even though it wasn't a part of my own narrative. It was kind of crafted for me by probably a bunch of dudes in the industry. And I guess that worked then, but it was really difficult for me to try to figure out how to get out of being an ingenue. I'm not familiar with this word. Ingenue. Or the other woman, because it was never anything that I hadn't intended. After all this sexualization, Scarlett Johansson said she thought of pursuing a different career in Hollywood that would be more fulfilling because there seemed like there was nowhere to go. Johansson changed her opinion after starring in the Broadway production of Arthur Miller's A View from the Bridge in 2009, where she claims totally reset my whole way of thinking about how I could work and the different kind of opportunities that could be available to me. Okay, there's more to it, and I may get into it later, but let me just react to this. Okay, so here's the beautiful thing about America. In America, you can try to be whatever you want to be. Your job is not assigned to you when you were born. You can change your status you can change your socioeconomic status. You can go up, you can go down. You can do whatever you want in pretty much whatever you want in America, as long as it's legal. And it's just really, amazing to think about. But let's just think about this. Okay. No one put a gun to her head and said, you will be an actress and we are going to make you do this. And you don't have a choice. Okay, that's not what happened. This is something that she wanted to do. She probably thought this was the best. She probably thought it was one of her best skills in acting and, using her looks to her advantage. It's like, okay, it's gotten her pretty far. But here's the thing. No, she didn't have to do this. And here's the thing. Let's do this. Let's say you are hypersexualized. Let's say this. Well, let me just start with guys, okay? guys and sex, our minds go crazy when we talk about sex. Or just think about it. It's very easy to turn on a guy. I mean, it could be something that's not sexual at all. You can show an image of it to a woman and she'll be like, oh, okay. And the guy will somehow, I mean, he'll see it for what it is, but in a way he could turn it sexual and it's just like, ooh, okay. But if she honestly felt that she was just being sexualized and not really appreciated for her skills, she could have chosen a different career. She could have. She didn't have to keep accepting these roles. She didn't. But what did she continue to do? She continued to take them. So I just find it kind of interesting because it's like you like it, you want to be, you like the fame, you like the money, you like the stardom, you like the attention. That's one of the reasons you keep doing this. It's part of the motivation. Because I mean, think about it. She could, if she wanted to, just not do anything. She could do that. She could just sit back and do nothing. But she doesn't do that. The reason she's hypersexualized is the industry run by men? It is. It is. And one thing, here's what the industry is about. It's like, okay, well, here's what any industry is about. How can we make money? How can we make money? It's like, okay. So it's like, here I see a really good looking guy, a really good looking girl. It's like, okay, I could use these people for their looks. I see a funny guy and a funny girl. The guy is usually going to be seen as more funny. Because guys, we just don't really seem to find women funny. And I think I can safely speak on that and go along with that. But the point is, you see different people and it's like, okay, we can use these different people who want to be in this industry for different purposes. If you are really good looking and you are a woman, there's going to be some sexual parts. It's going to happen. Why? Because one thing that women don't understand, I think one thing that women don't understand, or they think they understand, is how visual guys really are. When we just see a woman, like we kind of start thinking a little bit sexual depending on the relationship. If it's just a random woman that we've never seen before, it kind of passes through our mind of like, oh, they're kind of attractive. Would I have sex with them? Yes, I would. Would I? Maybe not, but I mean, I could, there's a lot worse. We're extremely visual. One way to get guys to watch movies is naked women, very pretty women who wear, red dresses and, high heels and stuff like that. It's how we're wired. But here's the thing. If she truly cared about this and she truly wanted to do something about this and hated being sexualized, quit Hollywood. Just quit. There are certain people fit for certain roles. She fits into the sexualized roles for women. I know I've been talking about dating and physical attraction a lot lately, but seriously, man, like it's an important concept to understand. Women are not, overall, their value doesn't hold as long as the value of a man does. According to many studies, the value of a man falls at 50. The value of a woman and again, this is on the dating scene. I'm not saying as a person. I'm not saying they're less valuable as a person. I'm just saying in the mating, dating, marriage game, okay? Their value goes off way early. In some studies it's 18. Some studies it's like 24. I mean, women simply don't have long. They don't have as much time as men do when it comes to, you know, attractiveness and value in this game. We love women. We respect women. But that's just, I remember I saw this one article. I think, and don't quote me on this, but I think it was some TV show, like some talk show host was like praising Keanu Reeves for being being with a woman that's his age, and they said that he was a real man, or like courageous, or I can't think of the words that they used. But I was like, you women, you just get, and naturally you just get more cynical and more angry the older you get on matters like this. You're upset that men don't find you attractive when you get 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. It's just not there. Men want fertility. And fertility it's negatively correlated with age. The older you get, the less fertile you become. That's just how it is. And I mean, she wants to talk about blaming men. It's like, Scarlett, you didn't have to be an actress. You could have been an accountant. You could have been a doctor. You could have been a lawyer. You could have been, I mean, take your pick. You could have done so many things. You looked at yourself one day and you said, okay, or I'm just going to assume, okay, someone along the line when she was young said, oh, you're pretty good looking. Have you ever thought about, being in theater or acting or, being on the silver screen? She tried it out and she eventually started to believe, hey, this is pretty good for me. I could use the gifts that I have to go forward in this and to succeed in life. Don't blame men. Is she sexualized? Yes, she is. Do I see her as a sex symbol? I do. There are some women who I believe are much sexier than her, but she is a sex symbol. That is one of the downsides of, I don't even know if you would describe it as a downside, but that's just one of the consequences. And again, consequence has a negative connotation. So consequence just means outcome. So a consequence of acting is being seen in a certain way. And when you're a woman, it's all about, when you're a woman, it's mostly about how you look. It is. It very much matters. Now there are tremendously talented women. There are tremendously talented actresses, and they're up there in age. But for the most part, if you want to if you are a woman and you want to be like an actress or stuff like that, and you want to be in the entertainment industry, your looks matter. They do. Is this a harsh truth? Yeah. It is. I mean, we men just value physical attractiveness is one of the main things that we look for. Women, when it comes to how you guys feel about physical attractiveness, you guys are simply more forgiving. We're not saying that you guys will just take just anybody, but you are not as picky, it's not as important to you as it is for men. So that's what I'm saying here. Seriously, Scarlett, if you want to blame men, go ahead. But the first person you need to point the finger at is yourself. You could have chosen any other career. You could have. You didn't have to choose that. No one can make you work in a certain career. Even if someone puts a gun to your head, you still have a choice. It's pretty rough, but you do still have a choice. So yes, Scarlett, you are a sex symbol. It has its pros and it has its cons. Having your status, it's made you money, it's brought you fame, it's brought you lots of connections. I don't subscribe to the idea of just blaming men. Yes, we do sexualize her. We would concede that. But it's like, start with yourself now, Scarlett. Before you blame other people and whatever problem you have, look to see if there's anything that you did to contribute to the matter. And then start with that. Usually, in most cases, you'll find that you indeed are guilty. Okay. This next thing is also from the Daily Wire. I don't really use too many sources from the Daily Wire. I like them. They're cool. But they're not really big to me, I guess. They're kind of whatever. I like Ben Shapiro. I like Michael Knowles. I like Matt Walsh. I like Andrew Klavan. I like those guys. I don't often watch their videos because I don't really like talking about politics all that often and just thinking about it that much. Because it'll just drain you. I don't know how they do it for a living. I don't know how you could do that every day for many hours a day and think about that and research stuff. It's draining. It's absolutely draining. I don't know how they do it. So that's why I mostly like to talk about stuff like involving the culture. It's just more fun. You can be more diverse with it. There's kind of always news. It's pretty great. All right. This is from the Daily Wire. Teacher training program used across the U.S. is hostile to whites. Now keep in mind, the Daily Wire is right wing. Okay, there are some who labeled the Daily Wire as far right, and they're not. They're really not. And it's pretty easy to differentiate. But that's a whole other episode. Okay, here we go. A new teacher training program called Deep Equity that is used across the nation reportedly has a hostile attitude toward whites, and there doesn't seem to be any recourse for those who object. According to Tucker Carlson of Fox News, and this is a quote, "No one will ask you if you like it or not, and don't bother to complain. Deep Equity orders teachers," and we're quoting now, so this is Tucker Carlson now quoting Deep Equity, "to explicitly reject and resist any parents who disagree with it." Okay, Carlson reported that the program is being created by Corwin, which described it as a teacher training program that is aimed at producing real school improvement for equity and social justice. Carlson opined, according to Deep equity. America is based on a hierarchy of various oppressions. Men oppress women. Christianity oppresses Islam. English oppresses Spanish. White people oppress everyone. Okay, let me just stop right here. Let's just go through these. Okay, so according to Deep Equity, America is based on a hierarchy of various oppressions. Men oppress women. Okay, so I always ask this question. When people use the word oppress, how are you defining oppression? Because that matters. Christianity oppresses Islam. Okay, so it's like this. There are certain countries that have certain principles, and due to them being in certain areas of the world, certain regions, there are different priorities and different values and stuff like that. You could go to a Muslim country, and you could say they oppress Christians. You could say that. In Christianity, here's the thing. Christianity doesn't oppress Islam. Christianity is just more popular in America. If you are a Christian and you go to India, you will be in the minority. You will be. Most Indians, I want to say, are, this, don't quote me on this, but I believe that most of them, by I think 70% of them are Hindu. Does that mean Hinduism is oppressing Christianity? No, I will say this. There are some countries, and you do have to take this into consideration. Okay, so there are some countries where if you are of a certain religion or a certain belief or identify as a certain thing, you could be jailed, you could be tortured, you could be killed. Okay, so here in America, there's no religion where it's like, okay, you believe this, you're getting thrown in prison. That doesn't happen here. Christianity is simply just more common than Islam. Okay, next one. English oppresses Spanish. English is just the more common language here. I mean, see, this is what I'm saying. How are you defining oppress? What does oppression mean? If you say one thing is just more popular, it's like this. It's like this. Just think of an elementary school. Or no, go like this. Think of what can I think of? Okay, we'll take Clemson. We'll take the Clemson football team. Okay, they have a great quarterback. College, in terms of, he's going to have a great career. This is just a quick side note. I am super excited for him to get to the NFL. My goodness. Whoever gets him, man, just start building for him now. That's what I would say. Anyway. So take Clemson University. You have Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a good-looking guy, tall, strong football player, star quarterback. He's more popular in the school than the average Joe. Like, if I went to Clemson University, he would be more popular than me. Does that mean that Trevor Lawrence is oppressing me? No, it does not. English is just more common in America. If I go to Mexico and I speak English, I'm not gonna run into too many people who I can communicate with effectively. Spanish is just more common in Mexico than English. So Spanish doesn't oppress English in Mexico. It's just, we need to watch the words that we use. I mean, I don't understand it. And the whole men oppress women thing. Listen, if you seriously want to make a case for that, if you take America starting in 1776, or even if you go back to the colonies, you can go back to the colonies, Jamestown, all the very beginning. Okay, you can look at that and you can say, okay, let's just see how women were treated back then. Now, did men control a big part of their lives? Yes. But if you take what was happening in the American colonies, the 13 colonies, and then the United States, and just compare it to other countries during that other time, America is towards the top of how well women are treated. I can't stand the narrative, the stupid narrative, actually, in my opinion, of America just being this horrible, horrible place that's just disgusting. I mean, if you seriously believe that, I'm trying to figure out, I'm just trying to figure out how you come to that conclusion. I mean, let's just think about this. All you need to look at is immigration numbers. Look at immigration numbers. Where are people leaving? Where are people going? The United States of America, the greatest nation to ever exist, is the number one destination for immigrants. By a huge margin. They're not going to China. They're not going to India. They're not going to the supposed, great Canadians and how nice they are. They're not going there. They're coming here to the United States of America. If America is just so bad and we just oppress all these different groups, why would they come here? I mean, seriously. That doesn't make any sense. America is a tremendous land. I mean, I think it's Saudi Arabia, but in Saudi Arabia, women just got the right to drive. Drive. Do you know how long driving has been around for? Like, what? 19, what? It's seriously been around, like, since the 1910s, 20s. It goes back a ways. I can't stand this narrative. Don't just use the word oppression to just bring in this negative connotation. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. Men, when I hear that men oppress women, I'm trying to figure out what does that mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean oppression? Define it. Give me examples. Show me some receipts here. Christianity doesn't oppress Islam. Are there people who don't like Muslims? There are. That does exist. And I will say this, there are some Christians who can't stand people of other religions. Is that true? Yes. But in general, here's the thing. Most people don't care. I wouldn't care if my neighbor is a Muslim. I wouldn't. And here's the amazing thing. Pew Research Center, they recently had a study came out that it kind of showed, kind of where hatred comes from in a way. And it shows that if you just know, it's like this. So if you don't know, let's just do the Christian and let's just do the Christian and Islam comparison here. So if I myself am a Christian, let's say I didn't know any Muslims and I didn't know anything about Islam. I am more likely to hate it than another person who knows a Muslim or knows something about Islam. Islam teaches great principles, in my opinion. They teach a lot of great life lessons and a lot of great values. I don't believe in Allah. I don't. But, if people want to believe that, go right ahead. I have no problem with that. It's really just amazing. Just knowing something. It's like, that's why conversation is just so amazing. It's hard to hate someone. It's hard to talk to someone and hate them. It's easy to hate from afar, but when you are up close and personal and you're talking with them and you're sitting with them, it's like, wow, we have more in common than I thought. How can I hate this person? If I hate this person, that means I gotta hate some aspects of myself. English oppresses Spanish. Deep equity is just. Let me just keep reading. Okay. According to Corwin, differences in academic performance have nothing to do with culture or effort. They are purely the product of racism. And if you know anything about that, you know that that's not true. Values are incredibly important. At the end of the day, race doesn't matter. Does it affect some things? It does. But overall, what's more important for success is not your race. It's your values, your work ethic, how much effort you give, your ideas, your actions. See what this does? It just says, oh, okay. If you're on the bottom, it's because you are oppressed, and it's because, it's because of your race, it's because of your ethnicity, it's because of your gender. It's ridiculous. It just takes away responsibility from people. It's not a good mindset to just blame your problems and blame the way things are based off society. Look at yourself. Are you doing everything you can to improve your lot? The answer is usually no. There are times where I find myself I'll fall into that thinking where it's like, oh, this person did this. But I have to think, I'm like, Solo, wait a minute. You decided to you decided to save some of your effort on this endeavor, to save it for that endeavor. So this is why you sucked right here. Don't blame the teacher. Don't blame the essay. Start with you. Everything I do has an effect on the other things I do. Where am I going to invest my time? Where am I going to invest my money? There are certain things, there are certain classes, like my Spanish class. I don't give much effort in that class. I have an A right now, but it's like overall, I don't care about my Spanish class. Why? Because I just believe it's in my better interest to invest that other effort and time into my other subjects. Or, reading and improving myself, and this podcast and stuff like that. And if it's like this, if I end up getting a D in Spanish, that's on me. It's not the professor. It's not the textbook. It's me. Now, I will say this. Are there cases where other people do play a factor? Yes. But it goes right back to Scarlett Johansson. Start with yourself. She entered into the industry and decided to keep pursuing it. She kept signing on the dotted line. she kept, making deals. She kept appearing on, these magazine covers and, sensual, sensual, pictures and stuff, just doing stuff like that. Look to yourself first. I mean, don't blame. I have this one girl in my class, my Spanish class. She's a friend of mine, and she always talks about how our Spanish professor is like bad and horrible, and how he just needs to change his teaching style. And I said, listen, he's not going to change. He's going to do him. It's like you just have to change your mindset, and you have to change your attitude, and you have to change your approach to this class. She wants him. She has said the word worksheet so many times this semester. I'm sick of it. But she wants him to do worksheets in the class. That's not how he teaches. And so I just tell him, I'm like, he's not going to do that. He's not. It's like, look at it this way. This is one semester. This is a class you have to take. It's not that important to you. Okay. So just get the grade, find a way to do it, and go from there. Stop blaming your problems on these outside sources. I can't stand victimhood, man. It's horrible. It's just absolutely horrible. And it doesn't, here's the thing. Here's the great thing. Victimhood doesn't help anybody. It doesn't. This in the article. Carlson continued. In order to fight that racism, teachers are instructed on different types of white identity orientations. Many white people teachers are told, according to deep equity, are defined by their ignorance and supremacy. Other white people, and by the way, white identity orientations is in quotes by of deep equity. So that's something that deep equity said. And then ignorance and supremacy is also something said by deep equity. Other white people, and this is according to deep equity again, question the systemic issues that have caused whites to be so much in a superior position. The curriculum offers what it calls a white allies action agenda. Jesus. Let me just explain something to you about society. Here's how societies are built. There's a very basic and simple construct. When you take a society, people who come together, they have a commonality. Okay, they have a certain goal, and usually these are going to be people who share something common. When they make a society, it's like, okay, these are the things that we value. These is how we're going to build our society so that we can be in a position of power. Not to exploit, but just this is how we want the system to work. No one makes a society and puts themselves on the bottom. Nobody does that. That's not a thing. This back in the article, the White Allies Action Agenda, as Carlson noted, lists various actions to take, including acknowledge the reality of racism, acknowledge the reality of white racial privilege, and educate other white people, and use your privilege to work for racial and social justice. I could go on and on about this, but I have to get to this next article. You guys get the point of what I'm trying to say. I just take responsibility for your actions. Stop looking at your race. Stop looking at if you're a guy or a girl. It doesn't help you. Because let me just say this, and then I'm done. If you have that mindset, if you just blame all your problems on yourself, or on other people, why strive for anything? If I have this mindset that I, as a black guy, can never, really succeed because there are whites on top who are trying to keep their foot on my neck, Why should I try for anything? If I know I'm always going to finish last, why try? Fix your mindset. See what happens. All right. This is an interesting article right here. And I'm gonna pose a question to you. This is from NBC News. Texas family told to take down snowman because it's too early for Christmas decorations. Here we go. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. By the way, let me just say this. I don't know if you know who Lindsay Sterling is, or Sabrina Carpenter, but Lindsay, she is a fantastic violinist. She's fantastic. Like, she is mesmerizing. Like, she is so good, and she dresses up and she just gets all into character. Oh, she's so good at what she does. And then you have Sabrina Carpenter, who's an actress, and she's very pretty and very good, and she has a pretty good voice, in my opinion. But they did a kind of burlesque version of the song, and it's really not bad. I like it. I think it's cool. Anyway, don't know why I just said that. A Texas family said their homeowners association put a damper on their holiday spirit by telling them to take down an inflatable snowman because it's too early for Christmas decorations. Claudia Simonis, a resident of the lakeside at Canyon Springs subdivision in San Antonio, told NBC News in a phone interview on Thursday that her family decorated their front yard on November 1st with a large inflatable snowman, a reindeer, and a Santa helicopter. Days later, on November 4th, the neighborhood's homeowners association, Diamond Association Management and Consulting, sent the family a letter saying the festive display was a violation and that the snowman needed to be removed. Simonis said the letter did not address any of the other decorations in their yard. Maintenance holiday decorations need to be removed. The letter obtained by NBC affiliate WOAI in San Antonio reads, "Please remove the snowman until closer to the holiday season." Simonis said she and her family have lived in the subdivision for 4 years and have never received a letter like this before. I just couldn't believe it, she said. My husband sent it to me and I said, "Are you serious?" Simonis and her husband, Nick, told NBC that she is pregnant and expecting a baby on December 25th. They put up their Christmas decorations a little earlier than usual in case the baby arrives early and because they wanted their sons, a 7 and 3-year-old, to enjoy the display. Now, here's the question that I have for you guys. When we say the holiday season, what does that mean? Because I'm going to say this. This letter from the Homeowners Association is garbage. And in the letter, according to NBC, they don't give a date on when it's acceptable to put holiday decorations up. I like when you say too early. I don't know what that means. Like there is no set rule or law saying this is the holiday season. When it begins, this is when it ends. Me personally, when November 1st hits, I am cranking that Christmas music. That's what I'm doing. I just don't know what they're talking about when they say, like, wait until the later and like, what are they talking about? I gotta be honest. I'm not a petty person, but I would go to the homeowners association and I would just be like, what are you guys talking about? What is the holiday? Like, I would ask them, define the holiday season. You will not get a specific definition. I mean, it's ridiculous. So anyway, that's just what I ask you. When do you guys start listening to Christmas music? When do you guys start decorating the house or your apartment or wherever you live? When do you start Christmas shopping? I know a girl, she says she does her Christmas shopping in July because she said she plans way ahead. She knows what she wants to get people. She just gets it earlier and then her Christmas shopping is done. But I gotta be real here, mate. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't hold up. Anyway, Christmas is coming, you guys. Enjoy it while it lasts.